Watch a Japanese street cat for 5 minutes, and you'll notice something remarkable. They never hobble, never favor one leg, and can leap from ground to rooftop well into their senior years. Meanwhile, the average person over 50 struggles to tie their shoes without groaning. Cats maintain full mobility for 12 to 18 years, which in human terms is like staying pain-free into your 80s. But the average American starts experiencing chronic pain in their mid-40s. The difference isn't genetics, it's movement patterns. For centuries, Japanese wellness practitioners observed cats and noticed something fascinating. Cats perform specific movements every single day that keep their joints lubricated and their muscles balanced. These aren't random stretches. They're a complete maintenance system that prevents the breakdown we accept as normal aging. Before we dive in, drop a comment. Have you ever watched a cat and thought, why can they move like that? I read every comment. And if you want more movement secrets that work, hit subscribe. Today, I'm breaking down 6 movements Japanese specialists adapted from cats. No equipment needed, just 15 minutes a day. Let's start with the movement every cat performs within seconds of waking up. Every single cat on Earth performs this movement within seconds of waking up. It's not optional. It's not learned. It's hardwired into their nervous system because it's that essential to pain-free movement. The Japanese call it neko no pose, which literally translates to cat posture, and it's been adapted into yoga studios across Tokyo for over 50 years. Here's what happens when you sleep. Your spine compresses. The discs between your vertebrae lose fluid overnight, which is why you're actually about half an inch shorter in the evening than you are in the morning. Most people roll out of bed and immediately load that compressed spine with vertical pressure, standing up, sitting down, hunching over coffee. Cats never do this. They reset their spine first. Watch closely next time. A cat wakes up, and within 3 to 5 seconds, they're pushing their front legs forward, arching their back up toward the ceiling, then dropping their belly toward the ground. This isn't just a stretch. It's spinal mobilization. They're pumping fluid back into those discs, activating the small stabilizer muscles along the spine, and essentially telling their nervous system, we're awake, recalibrate everything. Here's how you do it. Get down on your hands and knees. Your hands should be directly under your shoulders, knees under your hips. Now, on an exhale, round your spine up toward the ceiling, like a Halloween cat. Tuck your chin toward your chest. Hold that for 3 seconds. Then, on an inhale, drop your belly toward the floor and lift your chest and tailbone up. Your spine should create a gentle U shape. That's one complete cycle. The most common mistake I see is people rushing through this. Cats don't rush. They move slowly, deliberately, feeling every vertebra shift. You should spend 5 to 10 seconds on each position. Start with 5 complete cycles every morning. As you get comfortable, work up to 10 cycles and add another set in the evening before bed. What makes this so powerful is the segmental motion. Each vertebra moves independently, which maintains the flexibility between bones. When you lose that individual movement, entire sections of your spine freeze up, and that's when chronic pain starts. Research from Osaka University found that people who performed this movement daily for just 30 days reduced lower back pain by 43%, not through medication, through movement. Your spine is awake now. But here's the thing. Cats don't just maintain their spine. They maintain something most humans completely ignore, and it's the reason you can't open a jar anymore. A cat's paw can grip a vertical surface, absorb impact from a 2-story fall, and maintain sensitivity to the slightest vibration. Your hands could do the same if you hadn't been wearing shoes on them for 30 years. That's essentially what we've done. We've immobilized our hands in keyboards, steering wheels, and smartphones until they've become stiff, weak versions of what they're designed to be. Here's something most people don't know. Your hands have 34 muscles, not in your forearms, in your actual hands. These intrinsic muscles control the fine movements of your fingers, create your grip strength, and maintain the arches in your palms. But if you're not using them independently, they atrophy. And once they're gone, everything gets harder. Opening jars, buttoning shirts, holding a coffee cup without your hand cramping. In traditional Japanese culture, hand dexterity isn't just practical, it's spiritual. Tea ceremony practitioners spend years perfecting hand positions. Origami masters can fold paper with micrometer precision. These aren't party tricks. They're the result of daily practice that keeps every small muscle in the hand active and strong. Cats do the same thing, just instinctively. Watch a cat knead. They're not just being cute. Each paw presses independently, toes spread wide, then contract. This rhythmic pressing works every intrinsic muscle, maintains mobility in every tiny joint, and keeps the fascia between muscles supple. It's the same reason pianists and surgeons maintain hand function well into their 80s. They never stop using these muscles independently. Here's your version. Start with fingertip presses. Touch your thumb to your index finger and press firmly for 3 seconds. Then, thumb to middle finger, thumb to ring finger, thumb to pinky. That's one set. Do this 5 times on each hand. You should feel the muscles in your palm working, not just your fingers moving. Next, the cat paw spread. Place your palm flat on a table, fingers together. Now slowly spread your fingers as wide apart as possible, really stretching the webbing between them. Hold for 5 seconds, then bring them back together. 10 repetitions on each hand. This restores the natural spacing and independent control of each finger. The biggest mistake people make is gripping too hard during daily activities. You don't need a death grip on your steering wheel or your phone. Cats use the minimum force necessary. Practice this. Pick up objects using just enough pressure to hold them securely. Your hand muscles will learn to modulate force, which actually builds more functional strength than always gripping hard. Finish with wrist circles. Make a gentle fist and rotate your wrist 10 times clockwise, then 10 times counterclockwise. This maintains mobility in the 8 small bones of your wrist that work together for fluid hand movement. Your hands are awake now, precise and strong. But without core stability, none of this matters. Let me show you how cats use something you don't even have. A cat's tail isn't decoration. It's their balance computer, making thousands of micro adjustments per second. You don't have a tail, but you have the exact same stabilizer system. You've just forgotten how to use it. Here's what I mean. Watch a cat walk across a narrow fence. Their tail moves constantly, shifting side to side, adjusting their center of gravity before their body even knows it needs adjusting. They're not thinking about balance. Their nervous system is handling millions of calculations automatically. Humans have this exact same system. We just turned it off. In Japanese martial arts, particularly Aikido, there's a concept called hara. It's your center, located about 2 inches below your belly button. Masters spend decades learning to move from this point to sense their balance through this invisible anchor. It's not mystical. It's your core stabilizers, the deep muscles that wrap around your spine and pelvis, working together as your internal balance system, your human tail. But here's the problem. Modern life has put this system to sleep. When you sit for 8 hours a day, these stabilizer muscles stop firing. Your body finds the path of least resistance, letting your chair do the stabilizing work. Over time, your proprioception, your body's sense of where it is in space, becomes dull. That's why people over 50 start having balance issues. It's not age, it's disuse. The statistics are stark. 1 in 4 adults over 65 falls each year. Falls are the leading cause of injury-related death in older adults. But here's what's fascinating. In traditional Japanese communities where people maintain floor sitting and active movement practices, fall rates are 60% lower. They never stopped using their stabilizer system. Cats practice balance constantly. Every jump, every turn, every transition from surface to surface is practice. They're not trying to get better at balance. They're just using the system, which keeps it sharp. You need to do the same thing. Here's how. Stand with your feet hip-width apart. Now shift your weight slightly forward, just until you feel your toes engage. Hold for 3 seconds. Shift your weight to your heels until your toes lighten. 3 seconds. Now shift to your right foot, then your left. These are micro movements, barely visible to someone watching you. But inside your body, hundreds of stabilizer muscles are firing, recalibrating, waking up. Do this for 1 minute, twice a day. Once you can do this smoothly with your eyes open, close your eyes. This removes your visual input and forces your proprioceptive system to work harder. Start with just 10 seconds, eyes closed, building up to 30 seconds. The next progression is single leg work. Lift one foot just 1 inch off the ground. Not a big dramatic pose, just barely off the floor. Hold for 10 seconds, switch sides. Your standing leg will make constant tiny adjustments. That's your stabilizer system coming back online. Balance isn't something you have or don't have. It's a skill that degrades without practice and improves with training. Cats know this instinctively. Now, you do too. But balance means nothing if your foundation is broken, and that's exactly what we're fixing next. Watch a cat before it pounces. That deep, patient crouch can be held for minutes without trembling, without fatigue. Most humans can't hold a squat for 10 seconds without their knees screaming. The difference isn't strength, it's mobility you've lost. Here's what happened. Somewhere around age 5, you stopped squatting and started sitting in chairs. In traditional Japanese culture, people used floor-sitting and squat toilets well into the 20th century. Their hips never lost the natural range of motion. But Western culture put everyone in chairs, and your hip joints literally began to freeze in that 90-degree position. Think of your hip joint like a door hinge. If you only open a door halfway for 30 years, the rust and stiffness accumulate at the endpoints you never use. Eventually, you can't open that door fully even if you try. That's your hips right now. The deep squat position, the hunting crouch that cats use constantly, takes your hips through their full range. It's the oil that keeps the hinge working. But tight hips don't just affect your hips. They create a cascade. When your hips can't move properly, your lower back compensates. That's your chronic back pain. Your knees compensate. That's your knee pain. Your ankles stiffen to protect the system above them. Suddenly, you're shuffling instead of walking, and you think it's just age. It's not. It's one locked joint affecting everything. Cats squat dozens of times every day, before they jump, when they're stalking, when they're investigating something low to the ground. Each time, they're maintaining full hip mobility. Sumo wrestlers do the same thing with Shiko training, holding deep squats for extended periods. These athletes maintain hip mobility into their 40s and 50s that would make most 30-year-olds jealous. Here's your version, and we're starting gently. Stand with your feet slightly wider than shoulder width, toes pointing out at about 45 degrees. Hold onto a sturdy chair or doorframe for support. Now slowly lower yourself down as far as you can comfortably go. Don't force it. Wherever you stop is your starting point. If you can only go down 6 inches, that's fine. Hold that position for 10 seconds. Come back up, rest for 30 seconds, then repeat. 3 sets total. The goal isn't to get to the floor immediately. It's to progressively teach your hips they're allowed to move again. The most common mistake is letting your knees cave inward. Keep them tracking over your toes. This engages your hip stabilizers properly and protects your knee joints. Your weight should be in your heels, not your toes. As you get stronger, reduce your reliance on the support. Eventually, work toward holding a comfortable squat depth for 30 seconds without support. Then, go deeper. Your goal over weeks and months is to be able to sit in a full deep squat, heels flat on the ground, for 1 minute. This is the natural human resting position that chairs stole from you. Your hips are unlocking. But mobility in one plane means nothing if you can't rotate. That's what we're fixing next, and it's the movement most people have completely lost. A cat can lick its own shoulder blade, not because it's showing off, but because spinal rotation is survival. Humans have the same skeletal structure, but can barely look over their shoulder to change lanes. We've locked ourselves into a forward-facing prison. Here's what most people don't know. Your spine isn't one solid piece. It's 33 individual bones stacked on top of each other, designed to move in multiple directions. Forward and back, side to side, and crucially, rotation. But modern life only uses one of those directions. You sit facing forward, you drive facing forward, you stare at screens facing forward. Your thoracic spine, the middle section of your back, gradually loses its ability to rotate. This matters more than you think. When your thoracic spine can't rotate, your body compensates. Your neck rotates too much, which creates neck pain and headaches. Your lower back rotates too much, which creates disc problems. Your shoulders hunch forward because the muscles between your shoulder blades have frozen. And here's the one nobody connects. Your breathing becomes shallow. Rotation and breathing are linked through the rib cage. Limited rotation means limited rib expansion, means you're taking tiny, stressed breaths all day. Cats maintain rotation through constant grooming. Every time they twist to clean their back or sides, they're moving through their full rotational range. In traditional Japanese culture, activities like tea ceremony, calligraphy, and traditional dance all involved elegant spinal rotation. These weren't just art forms, they were functional movement woven into daily life. Your cat grooming twist starts seated. Sit on the floor with your legs crossed, or in a chair if floor sitting isn't comfortable yet. Place your right hand on your left knee. Now, on an exhale, gently rotate your torso to the left. Your head and shoulders turn, but your hips stay facing forward. This is pure spinal rotation. Here's the key. Don't crank yourself around. Use your breath. Inhale in the center position, then exhale as you rotate. Each exhale, you might find a tiny bit more range. Stay there for 5 breaths, feeling your spine lengthen and twist simultaneously. Then slowly return to center and repeat on the other side. The most common mistake is using your arms to force the twist. Your arms are just there for light guidance. The rotation should come from your core muscles engaging, not from pulling yourself around. If you're straining, you're doing too much. Do this 3 times on each side, morning and evening. Pay attention to any differences between your right and left rotation. Most people have a tighter side. That's normal. Don't try to force symmetry immediately. Just work both sides equally and let your body balance itself over time. What's remarkable is how quickly this affects your breathing. After just 1 week of daily rotation work, most people notice they're taking deeper, fuller breaths without trying. That's because you've restored space between your ribs, allowing your lungs to expand properly. Better oxygen means better energy, better focus, better everything. Your spine can rotate again, but all this movement creates one critical need that most people completely ignore. Let me show you how cats recover, because this might be the most important movement of all. Cats sleep 16 hours a day and wake up more mobile than you after 8 hours in an expensive mattress. The secret isn't how long they sleep, it's how they position themselves during rest. And this might be the most overlooked piece of the entire mobility puzzle. Here's what most people get wrong about recovery. They think rest means staying still. You lie in bed in the same position for hours, maybe rolling over once or twice, and wonder why you wake up stiff, achy, and feeling older than when you went to sleep. Cats don't do this. Watch a sleeping cat for an hour. They cycle through multiple positions, curled tight, stretched long, side-lying with legs extended, then back to curled. They're constantly changing their body's configuration. This isn't restless sleep. It's intelligent recovery. Each position stretches different muscle groups, prevents blood pooling, and maintains joint mobility even during rest. Traditional Japanese sleeping practices understood this. Before Western beds arrived, Japanese people slept on futons on tatami floors, which naturally encouraged position changes throughout the night. They also practiced specific restorative positions during the day, not as exercise, but as active rest. Here's why this matters for you. When you hold one position too long, your fascia, the connective tissue wrapping every muscle, begins to adhere. Think of it like plastic wrap that's been pressed together. The longer it stays pressed, the harder it is to separate. That's why you feel creaky in the morning. Your tissues have literally stuck together overnight. Movement is the solvent that keeps everything sliding smoothly. The other piece is your nervous system. Cats instinctively know something researchers only recently proved. Certain positions activate your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and repair mode. When you're in these positions, your heart rate drops, your breathing deepens, and your body shifts resources toward healing and regeneration instead of stress response. Here's your cat nap position routine. You need just 5 minutes before bed. Start lying on your back with your knees bent, feet flat on the floor. Let your knees fall to one side while your upper body stays relatively flat. This is a gentle spinal twist. Stay here for 90 seconds, breathing deeply. Then, switch sides. Another 90 seconds. Next, move into child's pose. Kneel on the floor, sit your hips back toward your heels, and stretch your arms forward on the ground. If your hips don't reach your heels, place a pillow between them. This position gently stretches your lower back, opens your hips, and signals your nervous system to downshift. Stay for 2 minutes, focusing on slow, complete breaths. Finally, lie on your side in a fetal position. But here's the key adjustment. Place a pillow between your knees. This keeps your hips aligned and prevents your top leg from rotating your pelvis forward. 1 minute on each side. You'll notice how naturally calming this feels. That's not psychological. It's your parasympathetic nervous system activating. What makes these positions powerful is the combination of gentle stretching and nervous system signaling. You're telling your body it's safe to let go, to stop guarding, to redirect energy toward repair. People who do this 5-minute routine before bed report falling asleep faster, sleeping more deeply, and waking up with significantly less stiffness. Now you've got all 6 movements. But knowing them individually means nothing if you can't weave them into your actual life. Let me show you exactly how to do that. Here's what makes these cat-inspired movements so brilliant. They're not a workout. They're a maintenance routine. Cats don't do intense training sessions. They weave movement into every moment of their day. That's exactly what you're going to do. The Japanese have a concept called kaizen, continuous small improvements. It's not about dramatic overnight transformation. It's about being 1% better every single day. That compounds over time into results that seem impossible at first. Your body doesn't need intensity. It needs consistency. I'm giving you 2 simple sequences that take 15 minutes total. Not 15 minutes of suffering, 15 minutes of intelligent movement that will change how your body functions for the remaining 23 hours and 45 minutes of your day. Your morning sequence wakes up your system. Start with 2 minutes of the cat stretch, moving slowly through 5 to 10 cycles. This rehydrates your spinal discs and activates your postural muscles. Next, 1 minute of paw presses, working through each finger independently. This wakes up your hand function before you grip your coffee cup or your steering wheel. Finish with 1 minute of tail balance work, standing weight shifts with micro adjustments. That's 4 minutes that recalibrate your entire movement system. Here's what people notice immediately. They stand taller without trying. Their balance feels more solid. Their hands work better. Not because 4 minutes is magic, but because you've reminded your nervous system what proper function feels like. Your evening sequence releases accumulated tension and builds strength. Start with 2 minutes in the hunting crouch, working at whatever depth feels challenging but sustainable. This opens the hips that tightened from sitting all day. Move into 2 minutes of the grooming twist, rotating your spine in both directions. This undoes the forward compression of desk work and driving. Then 2 minutes of the catnap positions, cycling through gentle stretches that signal your body to shift into recovery mode. Finally, spend 3 minutes in restorative rest positions before bed. That's 11 minutes that determine whether you wake up stiff or supple. Now here's how to progress without overwhelming your body. Week 1 and 2 are your adaptation phase. Focus on learning what each position feels like, not on how long you can hold it or how deep you can go. Your body is relearning movement patterns it hasn't used in decades. Give it time to remember. Week 3 and 4, start extending duration. Add 15 to 30 seconds to each hold. If you started the hunting crouch at 10 seconds, try for 25 seconds. If the tail balance work was 30 seconds, push toward 45. Small increments matter more than big jumps. Month 2 and beyond, this is where it gets interesting. You can start adding variations. Close your eyes during balance work to increase difficulty. Hold light objects during paw presses to build grip strength. Move through deeper ranges in your hunting crouch. Combine movements, flowing from one into another. The foundation stays the same, but you're building complexity on top of solid basics. The most important rule: listen to your body's feedback. Some days you'll feel strong and want to push harder. Other days, just maintaining the basic positions is perfect. Cats don't force. They work within their capacity each moment. That's how they stay injury-free for 15 years. Your body knows what it needs, better than any program can tell you. These 6 movements give you the tools. Now it's time to understand what you're really building toward. Remember that cat we watched at the beginning? The one leaping effortlessly from ground to rooftop? That's not special genetics. That's simply a body that never stopped moving the way it was designed to move. You have the same capacity. You've just been living in a world that convinced you chairs and stillness were normal. These 6 movements aren't a fitness program. They're a return to your natural state. Cats don't work out. They just never accepted limitation. Neither should you. The difference between aging with strength and independence versus declining into stiffness often comes down to 15 minutes a day of movements your body is literally begging you to do. Drop a comment and tell me, which of these 6 movements surprised you most? I read every single comment, and I'll respond with specific guidance for your situation. And if this opened your eyes to something you didn't know about your own body, hit that like button and subscribe. We're just getting started with movement secrets that actually work.